Okay, welcome everybody to ERA Live, and thanks for joining us today. Today we have special guest Sam Richter. You all know Sam from his many sessions that he's done at the national conference, at STEP, and all of these ERA Lives. He is a speaker and author, and he created the Intel Engine and ERA's SearchLink.ai tool, which we're going to talk about today. Today, Sam's going to review a lot of the upgrades and features he has completed and done to SearchLink AI in the past year. And these upgrades have boosted SearchLink's capabilities even further, which in turn helps our members boost their business. He's also going to spend a little bit of time today going over new news and items of interest in the general world of generative AI. So this should be a good one. Before we get started, audience members, please be sure that your devices are muted. If you would like to ask a question, please type them in the chat box and we will try our best to get to your questions as time allows. The session is being recorded and we will post the recording on our website and our YouTube channel within 24 hours of this session ending. So we're honored to have you here today, Sam. Welcome and take it away.
Great. Well, thank you very much. And as Claire mentioned, there's a number of new features I've added to the SearchLink, the ERA SearchLink, and I'll show you those. And also, it'll be a little redundant, but some of the features that you're used to, I've made quite a few improvements to them. So I'll walk you through those as well. And again, feel free to just type in any questions into the chat. Claire, feel free to interrupt me at any time if the question is related to something I'm talking about at that time. Otherwise, we can stay as long as people want, and I'll answer those questions. All right, let me put on my dorky glasses. I will share my screen. And here we go. Okay, you should all be seeing the SearchLink or the ERA website. Is that correct? Everyone can see that?
Yes.
Okay, great. So remember that SearchLink is for ERA members only who have the SearchLink membership. Claire, you can probably talk about that in a little bit. But so you do have to log in. And once you're logged in, you just go to the nav here, access ERA SearchLink, and it puts it right in here. And so the various features are ERA GPT, prospecting, contact info, meeting prep, communications, and some additional search tools. So I'll go through each one of these and again spend a little bit more time on some new ones. So ERA GPT, this is really, think of it as a custom version of Chat GPT built specifically for those in the electronics distribution industry. So you can ask questions in here. It's probably not the best place to ask questions related to prospecting or building lists. I'll show you, you want to do that probably under prospecting, but it's really designed to be a business coach. So you can go in here and ask it any question related to the electronics industry business or any business really. But what's different about this is it already knows that you are in the electronics industry distribution business. And so you don't have to build a very detailed prompt. If you have ever been to one of my generative AI programs, you know how I talk about building a very detailed prompt. Well, know that underneath here, there's already about a 700-word prompt. So it already knows that you're in the industry. So you can just go in here and you don't have to give it a persona or anything like that. Just type in your question, type in your goal, and the system will go out. Now, it's going to take a little bit longer than normal, say you're used to on ChatGPT, because the other part of ERA GPT is it's built with what's called deductive reasoning. And so it's not just going to answer a question. It will look at your question and determine if it has more qualifying questions or clarifying questions. It's designed to be a business coach. So in a business coach, you don't just get an answer. They ask you questions. So are you holding excess inventory versus surplus credit cost multiple? So I'll just type in multiple. And it may still continue to ask us some questions until it feels like it has enough information to give us some good advice. So you can go in here, just type in a goal. It's also trained on millions of pages of documents on building a better business. tens of thousands of pages of information related to the electronics industry, and even life coach. So can you tell me if you have formal agreements in place? I'm just going to say no. Are you also current experience, or are they stable? Stable. I'm just making up answers here, obviously. And again, so it's looking at your answers and then determining the best answer or coaching result that it can give you, again, specific to the electronics distribution industry. So now sometimes it will continue with these kinds of questions, just like a real business coach. So I'll say cash flow and no restrictions. And hopefully we'll get to an answer soon. Sometimes it gets a little parsnippity and asks too many questions, but there we go. So as you can see, it is very specific to the electronics distribution industry. You can just go in there and type in your goal. And again, it's really designed to be a business coach, even a little bit of a life coach. So you can go in here and say, hey, I'm kind of stressed for the holidays. What should I do? And it will walk you through that as well. So that's ERA GPT. The next tool, and this is a new one for you, is Contract Analyzer. So if you recall from my presentations on generative AI in the past, I always recommend uploading contracts and agreements to ChatGPT because you can get a nice summary. Sometimes those contracts are 50 pages long. They're written in legal Latin. You can get a nice summary. Well, I wanted to go beyond that. I wanted to break it down and really give us advice. So obviously this isn't a replacement for an attorney, but I'm going to go upload a contract. So I'm just going to go grab one. So this is a contract for a virtual assistant. It's written in their legalese, their legal Latin. I don't understand any of it. So what this is going to do is it's going to really not only summarize the contract for us, but it'll break it down. It'll ask us who we are, what party to the contract are we, and then it'll break it down and tell us what we need to look out for. So after you upload it, click begin. Now, by the way, contracts or anything you upload into generative AI has to be what's called OCR enabled. That means that you can read the text. Now you can tell if a PDF document is OCR enabled. If you open it and you can highlight the text, it's OCR enabled. Some PDF documents are just images. Someone's taken a picture of a contract. If you ever have a contract that's not OCR enabled, you can just go to this website. It's free from Adobe, and it will create an OCR version of your PDF file. All right, once it's uploaded, we click begin. And now it's going through and it is analyzing the contract. It'll ask me, what party am I? In this example, I am the customer. And now it's going to analyze the contract through my lens. What's in it for me? So, and what's in it for the other party? So here's kind of an executive summary. It gives us a risk analysis table, and it's ranking the risks from my perspective. Blow this up a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. And it will go through, it'll give a deep dive analysis on the contract. It's pretty thorough. You can still see it's still working here. What are some of the high risk terms, medium risk terms? And then it also compares it to similar contracts in the industry. Are there any unfair or unusual terms? What might be some missing protections? Again, from my perspective, what are some leverage points I have maybe in a negotiation? What are some suggested changes? What is my fallback position if the other party is not interested in negotiating or accepting my changes? What are some red flags? What are some recommended actions? And then any additional considerations, future purpose, future proofing, a summary recommendation. And again, you can continue to talk to it if you have further questions. So that's the contract analyzer, not a replacement for your attorney, of course, but hopefully it will give you information, especially if it's an agreement that you're going to run by your attorney. It gives you information so you can ask your attorney relevant questions. The next feature is prospecting. So what this is an AI-powered, so machine learning search application that helps us find the right people at companies. So for example, if I type in Raytheon, it's not going to find us marketing people at Raytheon. It's going to find the types of people we care about in the electronics industry. So I type in a company name. Now I can choose a seniority if I'd like. In this example, we'll stay pretty broad and we'll click in engineering decision makers. And on the results page, as you can see, it's not pulling up everybody who works at the company. It's pulling up the people that we might want to be in touch with: mechanical engineers, product engineers, design engineers, quality engineers, purchasing. Now, what's really cool is the system is using AI to search for all synonyms of different job functions. So this is searching LinkedIn, and you might say, well, couldn't I do this on my own in LinkedIn? Yeah, you probably could. But if you typed in purchasing Raytheon, you might miss Daniel because he's in procurement. You might miss Sam because he's in supply chain management. And so it's using AI to search for all synonyms of the particular job function. I'm going to keep this up because I'm going to go back to it in just a little bit. You can also search by seniority. So if I go in and type in Raytheon, I can add a function. So if I wanted to say, okay, find me everybody in purchasing who's a manager, a director, a VP, a president, C-suite of chief of staff there. So it's looking at that synonym. The flip side of that is search by function. Type in the same name. And this time I'll say, well, find me only directors. And then on each one of these, I can click through and get the directors at the company. I can also do a power search. So I can go in and really search for any type of person. I might say, find me people who are managers or directors. And let's see, maybe they like to play golf. So here there's some managers and directors at Raytheon who like to play golf. Now, is this everybody at the company who likes to play golf? Of course not. But golf is important enough that they put it on their LinkedIn profile. Of course, you can click on any one of these and it will take you directly to their LinkedIn profile. Now we're going to talk over really quickly to contact info. There are two ways to access somebody's information, their email and phone number. The first one is make sure you all have the contact info plugin. It's called the Lead Leaper plugin, installed as a browser extension. First, watch this 2-minute video. It'll tell you what it is and how to use it. And then click the Install Lead Leaper button. And what that does is if you see this little green frog up in my browser, that's the Lead Leaper browser extension. How that works is I can click on anybody in here and it will pull up that person's LinkedIn profile. And when you're on somebody's LinkedIn profile, you can click the green frog. And this only works when you're on somebody's LinkedIn profile. It will go out and try to find the person's phone number and email address. And this works probably 60 or so percent of the time. Now, when you install Lead Leaper, you'll also create your own account that's different than your SearchLink account. And the reason you might want that, well, the reason you will want that is anytime you click on somebody within LinkedIn, you can go here. Because I have a separate account, go here. Oh, I've got my list. There we go. So this shows all of the different people who I've clicked on within LinkedIn. So it's not a CRM system per se, although you can actually link it with your CRM system, but it's a way to go on LinkedIn and kind of build lists of people who you might care about. Now, the other way to find contact information is we can grab this person's name. We'll go back into the engine, close that out, and we're going to go to Email Finder. We'll type the name in. I'll type in Raytheon. And what the system's now doing is it's going out and it's searching millions, hundreds of millions of business directories and attendee lists to try to determine what the person's email address might be. And if it finds it, it will provide that under verified email. If it doesn't find it, it will give us a confidence score of what it thinks the email address is based on finding other similar email addresses online. So start with Lead Leaper first, but if that doesn't work, you can always come in under Email Finder. Let's go back to prospecting. Company search, just as the name says, you can find companies. So I can choose Colorado. Now, what's nice here is all of these are the core industries, if you will, for the companies we care about at ERA. So you can choose one of these, or you can just type in your own industry name. Let's choose a large HVAC company in Colorado, see if any exist. There's 962 of them. Again, just to be redundant, I'll go here, I'll highlight that, Control C, go back to key contact search, type in the company name, and it will pull up the people at the company that we might care about. So company search, you can search by employee size, you can search by revenue size. And over here, now notice on a lot of these pages, we'll have the feature, and then there'll be sub-features in here. So search for companies or a company website search. So here I might type in a domain name. We'll choose 3m.com and find me the word vendor. What this is doing is it's searching all of the hidden pages on somebody's website. Typically, when we search a website, we're looking at their online marketing brochure. But most large companies, most companies, but certainly large companies, have hidden pages, meaning they're not linked to off of their main website. So I can type in a domain, type in any word I'm looking for, and on the results page, we can find all of the results with that word vendor in it. And notice that every single result resides at 3m.com. I can see if there's any PDF files, any spreadsheets, PowerPoint presentations, or even general uploads. So it's a way to backdoor, if you will, into a company's hidden website. Now, it's not going behind anything that's behind a username and password. It's hidden pages, meaning that they're not typically linked to off of their main website. And then trigger events. It's what's going on in another person's world where they might be interested in hearing our message today. So we know that key hires and promotions, statistically, if someone's been hired or promoted, there's about a 3-month window where that individual is very open to new opportunities, new ideas. Why? Well, they don't have a legacy vendor if it's somebody who's been hired, or if it's somebody even hired or promoted, well, they want to go back to their boss and show them how smart they are. So key hires and promotions, you can type in a company name and it will pull up. I can choose a seniority level again, and it will pull up the results. Again, I can click on, have there been any design engineers? There have been 5 who've been hired or promoted in the past 1 to 4 months. Now it's really, none of these are designed to be a list building tool. I have list building tools. Reach out to me if you want those. But these are more a laser focused prospecting tool. But if I wanted to, I could say Minneapolis. And we'll choose a seniority level. We'll choose vice presidents, recent promotions and new hires. So this will pull up recent promotions and new hires in Minnesota or Minneapolis from the past 1 to 4 months. Maybe I'll type in manufacturing over on the industry. We don't care about new hires at an ad agency. So here would be quality engineers in Minneapolis in the manufacturing industry. So there's 1 who's been hired or promoted in the past 1 to 4 months. Disruption events, what's going on in another person's world where they, again, might be interested in hearing your call. So here I might type in manufacturing. You gotta spell it right. And then in the pull-down menu, I can choose a disruption event, a trigger, a sales trigger. So for example, mergers. Why? Because this is going to run a Google News search and it will find articles from the past year. Someone goes through a merger or an acquisition, they might be interested in a new vendor. RFPs, so I can type in electrical components. You got to spell it right. And we'll choose 2026. See if there's any RFPs. Again, it's just doing a Google search, request for proposals, patent search, government contracts. Type in electrical. What are some current or active opportunities? So it's searching sam.gov. Or existing contracts, subcontracts, it will search the FPDS site. Under meeting prep, now these are although these have been around for a little bit, I've updated them. They're pretty fun. So we could do a company analysis. So this is all based on the premise of what I teach in my sales intelligence training, and that is people are massively passionate about themselves. So how do we make sure that the first words out of our mouth are about the other person? I can type in any company. So I'll type in, choose Raytheon again. And it works on small companies, large companies, any company. What this is going to do, now again, you can go into ChatGPT and say, give me a summary of Raytheon, but this is going to answer the question in ways that we care about as salespeople. So there are multiple locations. Please provide the company's headquarters. I think it's in California. I could have typed in United States as well, and it will do that. And now it's going to find information, and it's going to give us, if you're on, we're going to do full company. Typically, it'll just give you the answer like this. So it gives us information about the company. Go back up here so you can see all of it. It tells us, okay, if we're meeting with these folks today, this is what I ought to talk about with them. This is what's going on in their world that they care about. Notice here that all of the sources are linked. So it's not going to hallucinate. All of them are linked. So you can go double check the information, how to best approach and communicate with them. What are some of their likely strategic initiatives? For large companies like Raytheon, it's going to be pulling this information from CEO reports and articles. Smaller companies, it's going to use its intelligence to determine what are the most likely strategic initiatives at an organization. Some of the organization details, company overview, products and services, problem solved, corporate ethos, organizational structure. They'll tell you about their customers, their customers, marketing competitive positioning, brand positioning, target demographics, how they rank against their key competitors, financials and performance, digital media, recent news, and it will even dynamically build a SWOT analysis. What is the evaluation and risk, the pros for customers, cons, pros for employees, cons, investment potential, any red flags or concerns, and you can even go in here and ask it additional questions. So I'll just type in recent news. So if I want additional recent news articles, it will go in here and give us that information. Again, it will always cite its sources. So that's company analysis. Under industry analysis, very similar. If I want to get information on an industry, I can type in, say, EV battery, and it's going to go out and get the information that we care about, that we might put in a PowerPoint presentation, a proposal. As you can see, it gives us kind of an industry overview, startling statistics. It will link to different sources. What are some key industry highlights? Who are the key players in a particular industry? Again, who are the customer of the industry? Any market trends? What's the regulatory environment? Where are some growth opportunities? What are some challenges and risks and the impact of technology on that particular industry? Customer demographics, market forecast, and on any of the company, industry, or people search sections, you can always go in and ask for additional information. And at any time, I can type in PDF, please. And it takes a couple of minutes, but it will take all of this information and build a PDF document that you can download, print prior to your meeting, or upload to your CRM system. The next one is personal analysis. I'll use myself as an example. And this one I've really updated in the last few days. So I can type in person, put in information about that individual. And this is all based on the concept that people buy differently. So for example, if you were to sell to my wife, she wants to know stories on how what you're selling to her impacts people, employees, community. As you'll see when you sell to me, you need to sell a little bit differently. And this is now going out and it's searching tens of thousands of documents, maybe hundreds of thousands of documents for information on me. It's going to ask me if that's the right one. Say, yes, it is. So it's searching everything from high school yearbooks, college yearbooks, obituary announcements where I've been featured, say for family members, political donations, charitable donations, articles, business information, professional licenses. And then because generative AI is a probability and prediction engine, it's going to make a prediction on how I communicate, or better, how you should communicate with me. Now, usually this is super fast, but of course, we all are familiar with Murphy's Law. I call this demo law. So it's usually super fast, but then, except when I'm giving a demo. So it tells me a little bit about me. So if you were selling to me, these would be my core values. And it's spot on. Scary, actually. That would be my personal mission statement. And how to best communicate with me. And it gives an example of words that you might say to me. What are some action language that would resonate with me? Some emotional language that would resonate with me. And then it even gives me a personality assessment. What are my strengths? What's my DISC profile? I can tell you, by the way, this is perfectly accurate. What is my Myers-Briggs? What is my Enneagram score? What's my emotional intelligence? My Colby style? And then it gives me personal details. And it looks like it repeated some of those things. So I don't know. Don't know why, again, demo law, Murphy's Law. This is the first time I've ever seen it repeat itself. Could be the internet speed that I'm on at this hotel. Okay, now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to pretend that I am selling electronic components to Sam. As I'm just going to make something up here. He is also a design engineer at an HVAC company. Obviously, you put in your real information, but what this is going to do now is it's going to say, okay, if Sam was a design engineer at an HVAC company, this is exactly how you should talk to him. So what are some of the things that he or me would care about? What are some of the words you should use? How you should talk to me based on my personality profile? Go in here and run it on yourself. It's pretty crazy how accurate it is. And I think you'll really enjoy how it really customizes your communications to based on how the other person is going to best receive it. There's a general news search. So I can type in a company name. It will give me Google News. So I've got to spell it correctly. Pull up articles, what's going on in the other person's world today. Extended news works best. Obviously, Raytheon's a huge company, so there's going to be a lot of news out there. Extended news is if you can't find a lot, because extended news will search general newspapers like trade journals and local newspapers, press releases, blog posts, social media posts, videos, and podcasts. We're going to go back to Google News, and I'm just going to open that up. So I want to show you why in just a moment. There's also electronic news. So consider this like your own little electronics library. So I can go in here and type in EV battery, and it's not going to search all the newspapers or publications or news sources. It's only going to search the publications in the electronics manufacturing distribution industry that we care about. So if you look at the title of all of the different publications, you can see it's a laser focused search for the electronics industry. Under communications, I'm going to skip down to follow-up GPT. The concept here is, again, most people care about themselves, what's going on in their world. But most of the time when we reach out to our clients or prospects, we're selling to them. We're talking about ourselves. So we can go, I've already pulled up an article related to Raytheon. You can also do that here. You can find an article or a research report, but we've already done that. So this one, I'm going to say company congratulations. This is going to go to Sally at Raytheon from Sam. And I'm going to grab the web address of the article, copy that, paste that in here. I'll go up and I'll grab some of the content from the article, just highlight a bunch of the content. And I'll right mouse click, copy that, paste that in here. And hey, last time Sally and I spoke, her dog wasn't feeling well. I hope your dog Max is better. I can choose a longer message or a shorter message. But what this does is it will now read the article and it will write it. It will write a message that then we can copy and send this to Sally. Now, you don't send directly from here. So I like to say in anything generative AI, use it to get you 85% of the way there. But I can copy this to my clipboard, open up Outlook or Gmail or whatever I use, paste it in, and change around whatever I'd like to, make it sound like it's coming from me. So that's the follow-up GPT. And then sales communications. This is pretty cool. So let's say I'm going to do begin. So this is going to go learn about me. It will learn about my prospect, and then it will craft a relevant message. I'll show you the sales communication. So this is kind of company to company. A general communications would be, hey, I want to invite someone out for coffee when we're at the ERA conference in February. So I won't give a demo of that one. It's basically a similar thing. But I'm going to go in here and I'll say, my name is Sam Richter at samrichter.com. And my prospect is Claire at ERA.org. Please focus on my generative AI keynote presentation. And please write an email. So this will write LinkedIn messages, phone call scripts, voicemail scripts. But what it's going to do is it's going to go find information about me. It's going to go find information about ERA. It will figure out what, if anything, in my generative AI keynote is relevant to ERA, and then it will craft a relevant message. So as I mentioned earlier, this is company to company. General communications, we don't need to demo that. Basically, it will do a personality analysis of both people, and it will write an email message based on how the other person is likely to receive that message. Again, I showed you the personality analysis earlier. It will do that when it'll look for commonalities. What do we have in common? And again, what's the other person's personality? It will write it in such a way that it will get high likelihood of being opened and responded to. I don't know why. Again, demo login. Usually when I do this, it's 1, 2, 3, and it gives me the email. So take my word for it. It crafts a really cool, relevant email. And then the last features in here are just, let's see if it's doing this. No, still it's waiting. Documents via Google. So this is just a Google search. So I can go in here and I can type in Raytheon and find me PDF files with the word Raytheon in it. Find me spreadsheets with the word Raytheon in it. Find me even price sheets with the word Raytheon in it. So lots of different documents. Then there's lists. So again, it's just searching Google. Type Raytheon. I can find membership directories where somebody from Raytheon is listed. I can find attendee lists where somebody from Raytheon has attended a conference. And last but not least, a recruiting engine where I could go in and say, hey, I'm looking for salespeople and they have electronic distribution experience, people who have said that they're open to opportunities. So here are people looking for sales jobs with experience in electronics distribution. You can find currently unemployed people and online resumes. Okay, I know I threw a lot at you. One of the big questions you're asking is, where should I focus? If it were me, it would be the ERA GPT. Just ask it general questions. For prospecting, key contact search, company search. Maybe you use trigger events. Use it once a month. Find out if there's any triggers, sales triggers out there. Contact info, of course. Meeting prep. Never, ever, 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 ever go to a company meeting without running a company analysis. And if it's a really important presentation, run a personal analysis. And if you're getting into a new industry, as you're doing your 2026 planning, maybe here, communications would be sales communications, follow-up GPT. Hey, Friday afternoon, go find 3 or 4 or 5 of your best clients or prospects who you haven't spoken to in a while. Reach out to them in ways that they care about. And then search tools as needed. All right. Well, that was a ton. So thank you for staying with me. I hope you found that helpful. And Claire, we'll open it up to any questions.
Yeah. Okay. So one that I would like to answer myself is Kylan in the chat asked, what is the price for SearchLink per company? It's $500 a year per company. Um, and then your company gets a subscription for the year, and that gives up to 20 employees access to SearchLink. And companies do need to be members of ERA to subscribe to SearchLink. I did post the link in the chat of how to sign up for SearchLink. I can post that again. And then if you have any additional questions, please reach out. You can message me in the chat here or shoot me an email.
Yeah, just to put that price in perspective. So I build custom engines like this for companies and industries. I think I've got almost 100 of them now. And normally they're priced at $39 per person. So, 39 times 12 times 20 is $9,360 is what you would pay, for example, if you were to come to me directly, or $500 through ERA. So as you can see, it's one heck of a deal. And the money obviously goes to support ERA. So everybody wins.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so back when we were talking about the contract analyzer,
Yeah.
um, Mike asked, what is the best way to upload a PDF or document? I assume that would just be like drag and drop, but
Yeah, actually, the best way to do it is to just click on this paper clip here, and that will ask you to find the document on your, just like you'd upload to anything.
okay.
I put in all of the fields, I put the instructions. So if you're a little confused, before getting confused, just read the instructions and it'll tell you exactly what to do. So upload your contract by clicking on the paperclip, and please be patient as I analyze. And after the upload, then click begin. and then the arrow, the submit button.
Awesome. Okay, Jean wanted to know, has the key contact search information that pulls from LinkedIn been vetted for current employees? I have experienced sometimes when people are no longer there.
Sure. It just means they haven't uploaded, or excuse me, uploaded. They haven't updated their LinkedIn contacts, their LinkedIn profile. This is pulling directly from. So if somebody updated their LinkedIn profile 1 second ago, it would be updated on here. It's pulling directly from LinkedIn.
Okay. Um, Jesse says, I was playing around with SearchLink trying to do some asset tracking for companies and was wondering how recent is the information from the database. How would you recommend asset tracking for best results?
I'm not even sure I know if you can give me a little bit more detail of what you're looking for as it relates to asset tracking. So maybe you can put a follow-up note in the chat box there.
Okay. Hopefully she hears that and can do that. Okay, Dave says, do the employees have a separate user ID password? Yes, Dave. Every employee that you want to have access to SearchLink gets their own user ID and password to the ERA website. Okay, and then back to Mike about uploading the PDF or the documents. He wanted to know what is the best document to upload, PDF or Word documents?
Doesn't matter. PDF as long as they're OCR enabled. And again, if they're not, and it'll tell you, like you'll get an error message saying it could not upload the document, in which case it's not OCR enabled. Again, really easy to do. Just click on this link. It takes you to a free tool from Adobe. Select a file, and then you can download the an OCR enabled PDF, which then you can upload. Most contracts are OCR enabled. It's sometimes it could be like I said, somebody scanned in a document as a picture rather than an OCR document. But most of them will probably already be OCR enabled.
Okay, Jesse, regarding the asset tracking, she says asset tracking customers with at Mosic, finding some engineering contacts.
Yeah, I mean, finding contacts you would do through prospecting under the key contact search, if I'm understanding correctly.
Okay. Florin says, is the information used in ERA searches that an individual rep asks stateless? Is the info used to train and store the GPTs? I'm concerned about confidentiality of what is being asked.
No, that's a great question. The answer is no. First off, any GPT. So I'm using Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, and OpenAI, and all of them under their API. And you can go look at these. You just go into Google and type in, Claude API documentation. None of them use what is typed in here as part of its training. I don't store anything. I have no idea who's using it. There's no, now ERA probably does, right? They because you each have usernames and passwords. However, there's nothing in here that is tied to an individual. So, and I do that purposely. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but if the CIA ever called me and said, "Hey, we need to know how Claire has been using ERA's SearchLink," I would say I have absolutely no idea. I mean, I don't collect any information. Now, saying all of that on the GPT features, and just like any GPT system, generative AI system, use common sense. So you're not going to upload Excel spreadsheets with social security numbers in here. You're not going to put in highly confidential intellectual property information. So my litmus test is I like to say that if you wouldn't email it, then don't put it into any generative AI system. But like I said, there's nothing in here that where the information is being trained or used, and I have no idea how. I wouldn't even know how to track it back to an individual because I don't put that in here. There's no Google tracking, if you will, on my end.
Yeah, and I should add, we ERA keeps track of who subscribes to SearchLink, but we do not keep track of what you all are searching, or we don't save searches or anything like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that under the ERA website, you can tell that Joe Smith or an individual logged in, and maybe even track on what they clicked on up here. Actually, they wouldn't, because this is all in my system, so they
correct.
wouldn't even have. Yeah, you wouldn't even have access to this information, and I don't track it. So
Yeah.
all you would know is how many people logged in. That was it.
Yeah. Okay, great. And then finally, I think here, Jim wants to know, are Edge and Chrome the only browsers that Lead Leaper works with?
Yes. Yeah, but the contact information, the email finder works in any browser. Works in mobile. And by the way, all of this works in mobile. Let me show you what that looks like a little bit, so you can see. So if I close that in, as you can see now, that's kind of how it looks in mobile.
Okay, great. I think that's it. I don't know if we wanted to pivot now. We have about 13 minutes left in the session. Um, if you wanted to do some stuff on generative AI, or what do you think, Sam?
So, basically what, and I'll be covering a lot of this, or some of it, but probably a bunch of new things because it changes so fast at the February conference. But some of the big changes right now are really what's going on with the various core models. The core models, I would say, are Claude, Perplexity, ChatGPT or OpenAI, and Gemini. And it seems like every day, it's not every day, but certainly every couple of weeks, one of them's putting out a new model, a new version. And they're getting really, really good. So people ask me all the time, which one's the best? It depends what day. So I would say right now, Claude 4.5, and that's the version that they use, is probably the best. It has the most advanced reasoning in there. It's relatively fast, and it does a really nice job of not hallucinating or lying or making up information. And also, it does a really nice job of sounding like a human. Now, quickly thereafter, OpenAI launched 5.1, and supposedly they're going to be launching, I think, 5.2, or they may even make it higher than that very, very soon. Again, making it sound more human, putting more deductive reasoning in there, and putting also a lot of these tools now have what are called agentic capabilities. What's agentic capabilities? It allows you to link different internal systems. So, for example, if you're to use, let's say you use Google, you're a Google shop. So your domain runs through Google, you use Gmail, you use Google Calendar. With any of these systems, but particularly obviously within Google, you can link all of those together, and it gives the generative AI system access to those tools, to your internal data. I don't personally do it because I don't want tools related to that. I'll tell you the one place I will use it. But in general, if you wanted to, then if it has access to your email and access to your calendar, you can log in the morning and say, hey, what are some of the emails that I received last night that need immediate action? Tell me, who is there anybody I should be looking at my email? I've got an upcoming meeting with Widget Corporation. Is there anybody I should be adding to the invite list? So those are agentic systems, and all of the models are now linking with more and more and more external data sources, everything from CRM systems to calendar systems, email marketing systems. So that's another big upgrade that a lot of the models have been done. And then, of course, video. Video is getting better and better and better. HeyGen I think it's .ai, but it's HeyGen, HeyGen, and then Synthesia are getting really, really good with video. Why do you care? If you have instruction manuals, if you have any sort of documentation, you can now upload that to any of these video systems. It will create videos for you that sound and look very, very natural. And with one click of a button, you can automatically translate those videos to any language. So those are some of the key changes I've seen over the past few months, and there'll certainly be more in February. Any questions on that at all?
I had a question going back to SearchLink. That personal analysis is really cool and
Yeah, it's
fascinating.
crazy.
What
Yeah,
what what is it pulling from exactly? Is that just looking at someone's LinkedIn profile? And what if they're not on LinkedIn? Would they
yeah.
show up?
So when I built it, my 93-year-old dad was my litmus test. So it had to be able to find information on him. So it looks at all publicly accessible documents, social media profiles, of course, all of the major ones, but it will also look at obituary announcements. Again, not the person, but we're all mentioned in people's obituary announcements. And then within those obituary announcements, it tells us who other family members are. It tells us where maybe somebody might donate. So that tells us a little bit about your core values. It will look at college yearbooks, high school yearbooks, any articles you might have been mentioned in, professional licenses, um, just really political donations, charitable donations. So all sorts of information that it's pulling from.
Awesome. This is a question from Walter Tobin. What do you tell folks that who are struggling to get comfortable using AI?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is to just pick a model. Most people choose ChatGPT, and that's probably the best all-purpose model, for lack of a better term. And the best thing to do is use it, ask it questions, and ask it how to use it. So you can go into ChatGPT and ask it, and you could say something like, "Now, my process for building a prompt, I'll walk you through it. The first thing you have to do is give it a persona." So in this example, I might say, "Today, you are the world's #1 trainer on how to use ChatGPT." And then you follow the GUIDE framework. The GUIDE stands for goal. U is who is us. I is intended audience. D is how do you want the information delivered. And then E is what environment is that information going to be received. And you don't have to use all of those, but in this example, I might say, again, give it a persona. Today, you are the world's #1 trainer on how to use ChatGPT effectively. I need you to walk me through step by step on how to get the most out of ChatGPT. I am an executive at an association. Please deliver your results in simple overviews. And Walter, this is nothing against you. This is what I do. I might say, use bullet points. And I use this exact language when it's something technical. Explain this to me like I was in high school and have it walk you through. So that's using ChatGPT as an example to learn how to use ChatGPT. Go into YouTube and just type in how to use ChatGPT, how to use an agent, how to use any of these models I'm talking about. There is so much content out there to really help you use them. The biggest key is that these systems recognize these systems are going to present their results as fact, and they'll never tell you that they're wrong. They present it as fact very, very confidently. Now, in the ERA SearchLink, ERA GPT, I've tried to build that out of there by using the deductive reasoning and have it ask you questions. If you're using regular models like Google, Gemini, or Copilot, ChatGPT, you have to make sure these are the big ways to make sure it doesn't hallucinate. #1, give it a persona. Today you are the world's best writer. Today you are the world's best researcher as it relates to finding information on the electronics industry. And then at the end of every single prompt, you must do this. Now, you don't have to do this in ERA GPT, but in any of the other models, you always must say, do you have any questions? Do you need further clarification? If you do not do that, it might not ask you questions and it will give you a result. It will present the result as fact and it won't tell you that it's wrong. However, if you say at the end of every prompt, do you have any questions? Do you need further clarification? Whatever words you want to put in. And 80% of the time, it's going to say, nope, I'm good. But 20% of the time, it might say, yes, in fact, I do have some questions. And that will help you make sure it doesn't hallucinate. Final thought is make sure that you use these tools to get you 85% of the way there. You're the expert. You're the one with experience. If you get a result and you're like, that doesn't make sense, it's probably wrong. In which case, you can also be really mean to ChatGPT or Gemini. There's no HR that's going to come at you. And so when I'm getting results that I'm not happy with, I'll go in there, say it's ChatGPT, and I'll say, you need to slow down and do a better job with your research. I know you made that up. If you do not give me the accurate results, I will report you to Sam Altman and have you shut down. I know it sounds crazy, but when you do that, it will actually do a better job. There's actually studies that show you'll get a 4% more accuracy when you threaten it.
Oh my God, that's funny. That's really funny. And that great tip about that. Do you have any questions? I actually never heard that before, so I'm gonna try that next
Yeah,
time.
that's really important because otherwise you're giving it permission to just make up something. Like I have never seen one of these systems say, I have no idea. You take a shot at it. So I've never seen that before.
Yeah. Okay, final space for any questions. If anyone wants to just open their mic and ask Sam a question, please do. We have about 2 minutes left. I did put the ERA Live playlist YouTube link is in the chat. If you click on that, it'll take you to all of our ERA Lives, and there's some past SearchLink demos on that as well. And then today's session is being recorded, and it will be uploaded there within 24 hours. Oh, one just came in. James, can you scrape the web for customer enrichment information?
Right, you could do that. That's one of the beauties of the agentic AI systems now. And also because you can build systems that will search the web and then on its own scrape the web. Now, you might need a third party data scraper if you don't have one, and there's a lot of free ones that are out there. Or if you want to get a little technical, spend a day. And when I say a day, it sounds like a lot. What I'm about to describe in the past would have cost you $20,000 and taken you 3 weeks, and it probably wouldn't have worked. Now it will. Claude in particular, Claude 4.5 is great at writing code. You could go into Claude 3. Or 4.5 and actually say, I need you to help build me an agentic system. I would like to have it automatically run searches and based on the results, scrape the information and add that to a Google Sheet. And it will actually build the software code for you. It will do it for you. So if I were in computer development or computer coding, I would be focusing my job much more on strategy and what does it mean and user interface and less so on the actual coding because I'm doing things with Claude right now that even 3 months ago would have been impossible. So use the tools to help you build the tools that you want to build.
Okay. Final question, and then we are really going to wrap up. What AI do you use to build your own chat?
To my systems, those are all hand coded with the help of Claude in this example. The other tool you can do, other thing you can do is you can go into any of these systems and have it ask it, say, you are the world's best prompt designer. I am a salesperson in the electronics distribution industry. I am meeting with such and such a company today. Please build me a prompt that I can use to gather sales qualification questions before my meeting. So you can use the generative AI systems to help you create a great prompt that then allow that you can copy paste right back into that electronics or that generative AI model.
Awesome. Well, this was fabulous, Sam. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming on here and showing us all these great additions to SearchLink. Really fascinating stuff. The personal analysis, everything, the contract analyzer. It was wonderful. So thank you very much.
I'm sure I'll have some new things before our conference in February.
Yes, we hope to see everyone here at that conference. Thank you all for coming today. The recording of this session, like I said, is going to be on that YouTube channel within 24 hours. I do want to mention the next ERA Live will take place in the new year. On Tuesday, January 13th, we'll be having Dennis Reed from Edgewater on as our presenter. He will be giving a market research update and an economic wrap up for 2025 and an outlook for 2026. So we hope to see you all there. Bye, everybody, and thanks again, Sam.
Thank you.